Okay, it's time for a tutorial in this random corner of my house with Rocky licking his nuts. Yup. So, you're gonna need yarn, some knitting needles. If being a beginner, it's a lot better to use larger yarn and knitting needles because it's way easier to see. And you're also gonna need some scissors. And this is the basics of knitting. Go away, dangly thing. Okay. I'm literally holding this with my niece, this camera. So, first thing we're gonna do, take the yarn, right? This little end here, doesn't really matter. If you know how to crochet, you probably know this. I know some people do it differently. Some people do the other way to make is it called a magic knot? I don't know, but anyways, what you can do is wrap it around your finger. It's around your finger twice, so you've got these two things. Hold on to this little bit here. It's just going to be a bit dangly there. And pull this back one here over top of the front one. Boom. That's the first step for making your first stitch or your magic knot. And then this one's the back one now, but it's going to come over that one and come right off the finger. Perfect. And keep holding that and pull the larger string. There you go. Got a magic knot or the first stitch. Since I'm left-handed, this stitch is going to go right on my left needle. So the left needle is going to go right up through it. And I'm just going to pull both of these bits so it's nice and tight on there. Then I'm taking my right needle, and this is how we cast on. So let's come up a bit closer so that hopefully you can see. So with our right needle, to cast on and make, say, 10 stitches. If you're using a pattern that says 10 stitches or cast on 20 stitches, it's all the same jazz. This is how you're gonna cast on. You're going to take your right needle, and just like this one, it's going to go, you see this bit here, there's an opening, it should be able to fit through. It's going to go up and through that stitch as well, so both needles are up and through that stitch now. And then with the long string, what we're going to do is, it's here, and we're going to go behind the right needle and up around the right needle like that, so it wraps around. See that? Now with this part, we're going to pull the left needle up, but make sure this little wraparound bit stays there, and pull that over the right needle. Oh my god, it keeps unfocusing. So now it looks like this. Okay. Anyways, now with the left needle, this right stitch has an opening here. We're going to go up through that right stitch on the right needle and take it off the right needle. Now you've got 2 stitches on the left needle. And with this top stitch that we just added, going to go up through it and repeat the process that we just did to make this stitch. So that is going behind and around the right needle, and with the left needle, this top stitch, we pull it up and over this crossed bit and sort of off like that. And then there's this bit here, which we take the left needle, go up through again. Now there's 3 stitches, and say you needed 10 stitches on your needle, it said cast on 10. Here's our 3, we're gonna just add 7 more. So hang on a second. And boom. There's 10 stitches on our needle, just like that. Ew, my fingernails are fucking disgusting. I need to wash my hands. They look like that from scrubbing dishes all morning. Anyways. Now we've got this, we can knit 1 row. If we're alternating between knit purl to make a stocking stitch, which will be ST, ST in a knitting pattern, we're going to need to knit one row and then purl the next and just keep repeating that. To do a knit row, like to knit a row, what we're going to do with each stitch is take our right needle and go up through the stitch like that. Oh, pull tight. Wrap around, go away, hanging stitch, and pull over, just like when we were creating extra stitches. But then you see this bit here on the left needle, it can just come off the left needle, and then we pull tight, and now that stitch is on the right needle. Nothing came off, like you didn't slip anything, but it's on the right needle now. And we repeat that all the way along this row. It's really uncomfortable to hold this like this, but it doesn't matter. It's worth it for education. Ugh. God. I'm like getting an arm workout doing this. That makes me sound really unfit. Anyways. There we go. And what I like to do after the first row of knitting is I like to pull the dangly bit so it's nice and tight and like it's not gonna come off or anything. I mean, it shouldn't come loose unless you cut it really short, but that's something that we do at the end, is cut it really short, or you can sew it into the material. Now, if we're doing a stocking stitch after the knit row, what we're gonna do is something called a purl. So we're gonna purl an entire row. And what that calls for is, see how we were holding the left needle with the stitches on it like this originally? Well, it's not really the left needle now because you're going to keep swapping them around. Or do we swap them around? Yeah, you keep swapping them around anyways. What you're going to do is, go away long string, go away, go away. What you're going to do is, this should be facing with these little bumpy bits here, they should be facing the left, but now we're just going to turn them so they're facing the right. Just like that. And instead of going up through these stitches like we did when we were knitting, no, we're going to go down through them. And it's going to feel a bit awkward, but yeah. Then we're going to wrap around and pull over just like we did when we were knitting, and pull it off the left needle just like we did when we were knitting, and do that all the way along, going down and through these stitches. Just like so. With stocking stitch, we would do this every second row and knit every other row. So knit purl, knit purl, knit purl. I hope I'm actually good at explaining this. Gosh. Okay. And then there it is. That's done. The reason people do a stocking stitch is because it looks a bit neater than just knitting. Here's the side that would be the inside of a sweater. If you look really closely at any fabric as well, you'll see this like sort of neat woven shape on one side, like the stitches are all crossing over each other. And then on the inside of the material, you'll see that there's this like jaggedy part to it. And that's just how it's made, I guess. I always found that interesting when I saw that that was on other fabrics than just knitted fabric. Cool. So, say you did that for like 20 rows. It said so on the pattern you'd have a square of knitting. But then say you wanted to increase for whatever reason, or you wanted to increase from the beginning because maybe you're making a triangle or a square, no, I mean a diamond or something. To do an increase, say you wanted to increase either side, which would give it this like growing shape, or if you wanted to double, which means you would increase on every stitch, which it would say to do in a pattern, you're gonna take your right needle, your left needle always in your left hand, and your right needle is going to go up through there. We always increase, decrease, and cast off on a knit stitch just because it's easier. And anyways, what you're gonna do is wrap around like always, take this stitch up and over like always, and put it on there, just like when you cast it on. And then we're going to knit all the way down to the bottom stitch. Or if you are increasing every stitch, you would knit these two now onto the next needle. And then you would increase, like double this next stitch, and then put those two onto this needle, and you do it all the way along. But we're just going to do the ends, so I'm going to knit all the way along here until I get to the last stitch. So hang on a second. There. So instead of 10 stitches, now we would have 12 stitches. And steadily increasing every knit row would mean that would grow this outwards into a sort of triangular shape, but without the tip bit of the triangle. So then I'm just going to purl a row, and then I'm going to show how to decrease. Cool. So we always decrease on a knit row. Look, that's coming along quite nicely. This is what stocking stitch looks like. My camera focus is so annoying. Anyways, it'll be like this, and to decrease, say you wanted to decrease each end to close it in, sort of like the top of a triangle, or I don't know, you decreased for each one because you wanted to make sort of a more circular shape. You would, instead of going up through one, you're going to go up and through two, or even 3, I guess you could if you were like really wanted to, but I don't know why people would want to do that. And then you knit all the way along, or do that with every 2. You knit every 2 together all the way along if you're dividing. And then when you get to the bottom 2 though, if you're doing what I'm doing, you're going to leave 2 left, like so, on the left needle, and go up through them, wrap around, and knit them just like you would one, the same as you did with the top 2. Oh my god, that was really, yeah. And then I'm going to purl one row and show how to cast off. Cool. Purled one row, and we always cast off on a knit row like we do with everything, because it's just easier that way. And we're just going to knit like we normally do. Knit 1 stitch, the top stitch, onto the right needle. Sew this down if you have to, and then the next stitch, so that we're going to have 2 on our right needle. But instead of continuing from there, what we're going to do is take the lower stitch and maybe loosen this a bit, so like pull this out and then pull the bottom stitch out. We're going to take the lower stitch, oh my god, So you see the top stitch and the lower stitch? The lower stitch is going to go up over the top stitch. Hang on, fuck. And over the top of the needle and just come off. Cool. Perfect. And then knit the next stitch onto the needle and do that again with the new lower stitch, which was the top stitch. And keep doing that all the way along the row until you've taken off all the stitches. You can do it with your fingers, or I find it easier when I'm using quite a thin needle to go into the bottom stitch with that needle and use that to pull it up because my fingers are not like minuscule. I do it like that. Anyways, I'll do that all the way along, so I'm gonna also do this all the way along. Doing it up in my hands right now. Cool. Cool. Pause if you have to. Or slow this down if you haven't already. Alright. When you come to the end of the row, after doing that all the way along, you'll just have one stitch left on your right needle, which is perfect, and that's exactly what you want. You can pull this stitch, which is really annoying on my needle. You can pull it like out a bit. Oh my god. So that it's visible. Cool, the loop is visible. And take this long bit of yarn here and just snip it. Then take this loop up here. You can make it bigger if you want. And take the long string, and just push it right through. Like that. And pull. And you're done. That's pretty much everything. I'll just add some pictures on here with the meanings of different like knitting slang, like STST and K2 and all that jazz, which is like, yeah. And then I'll leave you with that. Bye! That's all for now.